Greetings, Culture Warriors. It's Jeff Yaya, the author of Culture is Everything and the host of this Dispatch from the Front. Today, continuing our ongoing series with regard to the unrest in the United States, I want to focus in a little bit on the smallest of small businesses and talk about how this unrest has impacted one of these small business owners in a very tragic way. This is from CNN. The title is David McAtee Dreamed of Turning His Louisville Barbecue Joint into a Permanent Place. It's by Ray Sanchez and Evan McMorris Santoro. David Yaya McAtee and his barbecue joint were fixtures on the Louisville corner where he was fatally shot as police and the Kentucky National Guard dispersed a large crowd early Monday. McAtee, 53, called the spot one of the busiest locations in West Louisville, where he had built a steady clientele over the years that included local cops, his mother said usually ate for free. It was a popular outdoor eatery he had dreamed of turning into a restaurant, according to his mother, and a February interview he gave the local West of 9th photoblog. His mother, Odessa Riley, said McAtee was trying to make an honest dollar to take care of his rent and his bills, and they're going to shoot him down like a dog. Here's what we know about David McAtee and how he died. Police say they returned fire after being fired upon. Louisville Metro Police Chief Steve Conrad was fired after officials discovered two of his officers involved in McAtee's shooting had not activated their body cameras. This type of institutional failure will not be tolerated, Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher said Monday. McAtee was shot as police and National Guard members tried to disperse a large crowd, according to police, who said officers returned fire after being fired upon. The city has a dusk-to-dawn curfew after nights of protests. Kentucky, like other states, has had protests stemming from the death of 46-year-old George Floyd at the hands of Minneapolis police last week. But Louisville protesters have also voiced anger over the March death of Breonna Taylor, an emergency medical technician who was shot multiple times when three Louisville, I assume that's Metropolitan, police department officers entered her apartment by force to serve a search warrant. Police and National Guard units around 12:15 a.m. early Monday were sent to clear a large crowd in the parking lot where McAtee sold his barbecue at his stand. Officers and soldiers began to clear the lot and at some point were shot at, Conrad told reporters. Both LMPD and National Guard members returned fire. We have one man dead at the scene. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear said state police were investigating McAtee's death. Russell Coleman, U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Kentucky, also said on Twitter his office has started an investigation, which will be carried out alongside FBI Louisville office and state police. We lost a wonderful citizen named David McAtee, Fisher said. David was a friend to many, a well-known barbecue man. They've nurtured so many people in their bellies and in their hearts before, and for him to be caught up in this, not to be with us today, is a tragedy. McAtee's nephew, Marvin McAtee, told CNN affiliate WAVE that a niece of the chef was wounded when gunfire erupted. She survived. McAtee was fatally shot in the chest while reaching out to grab his niece, Marvin McAtee said. Local police officers knew McAtee well, his family said. He fed all the policemen, Riley told the station. Police would go in there and talk with him and be with him. He fed the police. He fed them free. Riley told CNN Monday that Fisher had briefly met with her near the scene of the shooting. She said he prayed for her. I broke down and started crying, but he, the mayor, Fisher, he's a good person, she said. Last week, 7 people were shot downtown in protest over Taylor's death after audio was released of Taylor's boyfriend's call to 911 the day she died. Fisher said the shots came from the crowd, not the police. In an interview that appeared in the West of 9th photoblog in February, McAtee said he had been cooking and selling barbecue for about 30 years, but had been at the West Louisville location for 2. I always wanted to be in this spot, and when the opportunity came, I took it, he said. If I go, somebody else will snatch it. I've already built my clientele, and I'm not trying to give up my clientele. McAtee said he'd had some ups and downs from living a crazy lifestyle, but he straightened out. He said he had been shot and robbed. I have always been blessed with the skills to cook, he told the blog. I didn't need anything else. People have to eat every single day, and all I need is my skills. McAtee had hoped to buy the lot and build a more permanent spot. I got to start somewhere, and this is where I'm going to start. It might take another year or two to get where I'm going, but I'm going to get there. So that should give us an idea of what this man was like and what he valued. Clearly, he valued hard work. 30 years of laboring over a smoker, make the best food possible to feed the people. People he valued. He clearly valued the community. He's out there in the hot sun in Louisville most of the summer, cooking away. He valued his relationship with the police. Let them eat for free. Enjoyed them being around, by all appearances. But what he valued most, clearly, was family. And we know this because he displayed such tremendous courage in protecting his niece. You know, we train soldiers and we train policemen to do something very unnatural when violence breaks out around them. To stand their ground, to assess the situation, and to make the right decision. It's the most unnatural thing in the world, to put yourself in the line of fire to protect another human being. But that's what David McAtee did. He displayed that courage despite having none of that training. And in my book, and the book of so many others, that makes him a hero. The claim here from the mayor was that the bullet that killed him came from the crowd. The story and the flow of the story, written by media members who don't share David McAtee's values, seems to indicate that he was potentially shot by the police. And that's because of the ambiguousness around his mother's comment about they shot him down like a dog. It wasn't clear who they was. In where they placed it in the flow of the story, it seemed to indicate it could have been the police. It's not until later on in the story you read that, at least in the mayor's eyes, it wasn't a bullet that came from the police, but rather from the crowd. So as always, you have to keep an eye on the media's values as they tell the story. And I think we're going to see, as the National Guard and the military gets more involved in preserving the peace in the wake of these ongoing riots, I think what you're going to see is the media is going to start to point fingers at the military. Because whereas the police ultimately report up to the city government, which is run, in these cases, overwhelmingly by the exact same party that these CNN reporters belong to. They're on the same team. The National Guard and the rest of the military, whether it be Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, they're not on the same team in CNN's eyes. I've had personal experience with that. And I can tell you that I think you're going to see the slant of the story be wherever there is a reason to doubt, wherever there's an ambiguity, that they are going to lay that at the feet of the military wherever possible. Right, wrong, or indifferent. That's just how it will play out. Keep an eye on it in the coming weeks and see if that doesn't happen. Be aware of it so that you can focus on the facts when you review these stories and make your own judgment. But what wasn't really clear in this story was how the police and the National Guard responded to the firefight that broke out. You would hope that they would have the value of discipline and restraint and not engage in a firefight in such a scenario, simply because the propensity to kill innocent bystanders is just so great. Obviously, the shooter or shooters had no such compunction, had no such value, and were likely hoping that the police and National Guard would overreact so that they could turn the anger against those innocent bystanders being injured or killed to their own advantage. We're seeing more of this as this series of unrests continues to wear on. But I think most Americans look at this situation and just think to themselves, thank God that we have men among us like David McAtee. Thank God there are still men who will lay down their lives, their very lives, to protect those they love. Thank God for them. And let's hope to God that the people of Louisville and the people across America will do what they can to help his family bear up under this tremendous tragedy and build a lasting legacy to a man who was revealed under the most trying circumstances imaginable to be nothing less than a hero. Thanks and have a great day.